News and notes on the day. Michigan State Athletic Director Alan Haller has officially announced that they have begun the process of firing Mel Tucker for cause. Now, Tucker has 7 days to present to the university reasons why he should not be terminated for cause. Off the field, Tucker was suspended without pay amid a sexual harassment case. This termination has no impact on that case. Now, on the field, he was in his fourth year, total record of 20-14, which included a great 21 campaign that led to a New Year's Six win where they finished 11-2. And then they signed Mel Tucker to a 10-year, $95 million contract extension that was going to run through 2032. Now, on that contract extension, Tucker is still owed about 70-something million dollars, 72, 74, 75 in that vicinity. And in the event in which he is terminated with cause, he would forego all of that money. I'm not going to get into the details of the case. I'm not going to get into speculation. I'm purely going to talk about what this job is and who could potentially be on the short list of guys that Michigan State might consider in the event in which this goes down the way it seems like it's going to go down. When you look at what Michigan State has accomplished, you can win there. Okay, they've been to the playoff. They've been to the New Year's Six multiple times. They won the New Year's Six just a couple of years ago. You have a ton of resources, as evidenced by the $95 million contract that Tucker signed just 2 years ago. One of the biggest, renovations in the country is the Tom Izzo football building, which is about $78 million. So I think when you look at what kind of job this is, it's a very attractive job for a lot of potential candidates. And I think, too, the last time they went through this process, that was when Mark D'Antonio decided to retire. That was on February 4th of 2020. Signing day was just a couple days later, or a day later, or whatever it was. Granted, they had the original signing day back in December, but that was the second signing day. So the timing was a little bit different. Now, whoever might get this job is going to have a full cycle to be able to evaluate and potentially bring guys in for the first signing day, and then obviously for the second as well. Some candidates right now that might be on the short list for the athletic director and the administration right now. Duke head coach Mike Elko is at the top of just about everybody's list. The guy has done an amazing job at Duke, a terrific coach. And just on an EXO standpoint, on a scheme standpoint, he's excellent, universally respected. And I do think will be pretty much offered a handful of jobs at season's end if he can continue to win the way he's won up to this point. Another one that might be under consideration would be Sharon Moore. He's 37 years old. He was at Central Michigan for a little while, then went to Michigan in 2018 and has now become the OC. He's put together an incredible offensive line contingent there and winning the Joe Moore Award back-to-back years the last couple of years. Another guy to potentially consider would be Pat Narduzzi. Pat Narduzzi, the last time this job was made available, was certainly in contention. I believe there's reports out there that he turned it down not once but twice. And then he decided to remain loyal at the time to Pitt. But right now Pitt is sitting at 1-2, and things don't look quite as good for Pitt in the near future with what's going on in the ACC and what Phil Jurkovic's done up to this point. So maybe in the event in which Pitt doesn't look quite as good, maybe Narduzzi really considers making this move if it's afforded to him this time around. Another name to keep in mind is Sean Lewis, formerly the head coach of Kent State, currently the offensive coordinator of Colorado. Has a ton of Midwest ties, runs an innovative offense that really features playmakers, wide receivers, and quarterback play. And clearly with the disadvantage that they have at Colorado with the offensive line, they can kind of coach around that with the scheme that they run. Now, the results were a little bit mixed at Kent State, but he did. It's a tough place to win. He won more games than a lot of people there, at least in the last handful of years prior to taking the OC job at Colorado. And then finally, another name that I think will continue to probably get evaluated, kicked around every once in a while, would be Willie Fritz at Tulane. Obviously, last year he was 12-2. And there were a lot of people that thought maybe he'd get a job this past year. Well, they brought back a decent amount of that team. And this was a group that had 2 wins 2 years ago. So he's a good coach that's universally respected. So maybe he gets some calls this offseason as well. And maybe one of those calls from East Lansing.